What up, guys? Becca Media is here, and today we got The Fosters, Season 1, Episode 3, Hostile Acts. Okay, so this episode starts off with Brandon waiting for the bathroom, but Mariana is taking too long, and then when his clock dings, she's like, girls take longer in the bathroom, and restarts his timer. And yeah, and when she's and Jesus is like, and then Jude goes in and he's like, I need to take a pee, but then he ends up taking a shower. So while this is happening, Jesus is like trying to nudge Alexia online, whatever that means. I don't know what that means, but he's trying to do it. And then Brandon's like, hey, get out of my room. I'm just like, look at my stuff. And she's like, look at, he's like, I'm doing something. He's like, well, you shouldn't give away your pills at school. Get out. And yeah. So then, and then make sandwiches, and then Marianne's like, she doesn't like cheese, she's like, tune up, but then Brandon's like, hey, there's cold, and he's like, Marianne's like, just there's no hot water left. So, then we got to, after the intro, which has new lyrics from Where You Be Loved to Where You Belong, which is kind of weird. Then we get to at school where Vice Principal Sanchez, Principal Sanchez is like, hey Jude needs, if Jude doesn't if Jude doesn't get through that school entrance entrance exam test, he'll be kicked out of Anchor Beach. And she's like, and Emily's like, whoa, you can't do that. The only person Jude has as his sense of security is his sister, I mean Callie. So yeah, so then we get to Timothy's class, and we see Brandon, but first we see Brandon, and he's with Mike, and he's like doing those baseball things where he hits the baseball and goes to the batting cages with Mike, and he starts talking about how it's all like, he was talking with Talia about, I forgot to mention, the Timothy scene. We start off with him talking about with Talia, about him talking about, like, now, how he would have privacy if there was, like, 4 less kids in the house. So, yeah, so then he kisses Talia, and Callie sees him kiss Talia from Timothy's classroom, and Timothy's like, here's a journal that you can write in. Actually, I think it's Timothy's classroom or just normal classroom. I don't know. But in Timothy's classroom, we see this other guy next to Callie, and then we see her, like, we see Callie get a journal where he's like, it's just a journal. It'll give habit of writing in the journal. So then we see at the back of cages, we see Brandon and Mike, and Brandon's talking about how it would be good if he had privacy, and Mike's like, hey, why don't you move in with me? He's like, yeah. So he goes back home, and Steph, and he's like, hey Steph, Mike, can you like mentioned that mentioned that I would want to live with him, and she's like, and Steph's like, bro, it isn't your choice, but it isn't Mike's either. You should talk to me about this. Didn't the characters learn from episode 2? I kind of compare this episode 2 where Mike got mad at Steph for, keeping the whole Brandon not being grasping from him, and now this episode, Steph is mad because Mike is keeping Brandon living with him from her. So, didn't they learn anything from the last time's episode? I guess not, because they're kind of redoing it, but in different ways. So yeah. So Leah has to inform Jude that he has to get into the exam. Actually, first we'll get to this. First we'll get into this scene. We're Brandon's like we're Brandon like, hey, did he get the did he? It's never. He says it's straight up bull. No, he says that. I don't think it's also swear, but he says that, and he's like, it's straight up bull that he doesn't get to do what he wants. And she's like, you're 16, bro. Yeah, and he's like, yeah. So it's like, yeah, did he get to choose for Steph to divorce Mike? Did he get to choose to have two moms? And she's like, you were 5, bro. Yeah, Brandon was 5 when Steph and Mike divorced. So, and she's like, Randy, you better stop talking. And she's like, oh, it's just, oh, it's just, do it. It's her, the highway. And she's like, you better watch yourself, Brandon. And he's like, watch this, mom. And she's like, and she's like, Brandon, if you leave this house, and he's like, now you two need to calm down. So yeah. So then Mariana's up one night when she revealed to Callie why, why she. So she says she's not a selfish person. She's not a selfish person. She says the B word, but I'm gonna say selfish person. She says she's not a selfish person. Selfish person. She just is doing this. She's just selling drugs because she needs money to get to her birth mom, and she's like, Callie, are you listening? Callie's like, I'm listening, and that's where that scene ends. So we never get the result of that scene, cause then it transitions to Brandon and Steph apologizing, and Steph is like, hey Brandon, it's your choice to if you want to live with your dad or not, and he's like, okay. So then actually speaking of Jesus is like, Maria and Lexi are talking, and Lexi's talking about how poor guy, and Maria's like, why do you care? He's like, yeah, I just, so yeah, so then she's with hi to Jesus, and yeah, so then during that scene, Brandon was like, and Jesus was like, hey, bro, it's gonna be, and Brandon's like, his mom's gonna be devastated if he leaves, but his dad's gonna be devastated if he doesn't leave. So yeah, so Jude and Callie get the news of the interesting exam. So Jude writes the exam down, but yeah, and he just went to 7 school, and he's like, he kind of gets, I think he gets Matley, I don't know, but because she's like, you went to 4 different schools, and he's like, 7. Jude went to 7 different schools, and yeah, so then one day Jesus is just walking, and he sees Lexi sitting on the beach, and he just doesn't do anything, because one day, he and Mario were just cleaning dishes when he lied saying that he would never date one of Marion's friends anyway, meaning Lexi, but he's just doing it to keep it secret. So when Jesus is like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do this, and she's like, why? Because of Mariana, and he's like, yeah. And she's like, her best friend and her brother like each other, so what? And she's like, I know I know she told him, and she's like, what, we're gonna do what Mariana wants? Yeah, that's what she says, but, yeah, so then Brandon comes home after hanging out with his dad, and is like, hey, Talia comes, and then Talia's like, hey, we're playing games, which is kind of like out of nowhere, because Talia just shows up, and Kylie's like, oh, we're gonna play games together. So then Brandon, as they're all about to play the game, Brandon shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna go visit his dad, but then but then he needs to play basketball together, which makes him rethink his decision. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna go stay with my mom. And he's like, sure, because he thought that he was gonna disappoint Mike, but Mike was like, sorry. He's like, it's okay. He's like, and he starts crying, and he hugs him, and he's like, is that a piano? Brandon's like, is that a piano? He's like, I rented it. You can play it anytime you come here. So yeah, so Jesus actually goes into Mariana's room and sees on her computer that she's still talking to her birth mom Anna, and is like, hey, you. She's embarrassed talking when she's going through stuff, and she's embarrassed talking about with Mariana, and she has no choice and she's embarrassed that she has to take money from her, but she has no choice, which is kind of like, everyone has a choice, and Jesus mad that Mariana's still talking to her birth mom, even though after what happened in the first episode, he starts kissing Lexi, and yeah, and then Jesus comes clean about Mariana taking the pills, and Brandon's like, why are you taking the cover for her? And he's like, because the same she had the same terrified look that she had when they went to the first foster house, and yeah, so so then Marty and Callie are yelling at each other because Callie thinks Mariana took her journal, and Mariana is denying it, saying that she didn't. And Callie kind of says, Callie kind of says, hey, like Perfect Mariana couldn't do anything wrong. I guess you gotta know your daughter a little bit better, because but the whole stealing pills, giving to a birth mom thing, and Lee's like, what does that mean? And Callie just looks at Jude. She's like, oh, I guess I just lost it somewhere. And Mariana's like, and I kind of have a like a theory that Talia did, because there's been so many scenes in the first 3 episodes that's kind of seen her jealousy towards Callie and Brandon's friendship, because she's always dating Brandon. Talia's dating Brandon, and you kind of see it. So maybe, yeah, but she wrote down the name Liam in her book, and it's kind of like, who's Liam? And then Jude kind of says, you're worried about Liam? And I'm kind of like, who is Liam? Like, who is this guy? Why is he such a big deal? Yeah, I guess we're gonna find that out in the remaining episodes, because they wouldn't just leave this who you're worried about Liam thing without like telling us who Liam is. But yeah, so yeah, so Mariana's like, hey, she didn't take her journal, and she started talking about her experiences in the foster system, about how she kept moving from home to home like Callie did, and how Mariana took, how after Mariana she didn't feel safe until she came to the foster's house, and then Mariana, didn't know how to trust anyone. So yeah. So then at the end of the episode, we see Judy and Mariana, and we see Judy and Lena in school, and Lena starts marking Jude's I think he got it wrong, but she wants to make him stay, so she's marking it all right, and she even changed his 656 to 658. Yeah. Well, anyway, at the end of the episode, we see the family all in the room, and they're going to watch a movie or something, and Jude's like, hey, he needs a story, and he needs a name for the bad guy, and Steph starts talking about how she busted a guy named Freddie, and they're like, does have to be your girl, and then Talia jumps in, what about Liam? Yes. So Talia and Jude just looks at Callie, and Callie just looks back. Yeah, Talia took Callie's journal. And ooh, did I think that this was not going to... I thought this was going to happen because of what did happen in 3 episodes. Callie and Brand's friendship. Talia was jealous. And also, Brand did give Callie his guitar because she was like, here's your guitar back. And he was like, that's not a loaner. I'm giving it to you. So, well, that wraps up this episode. Actually, the Talia Liam reveal. Talia's name reveal. See, what about Liam for the true name bad guy ends the episode. Okay, so I thought this episode was really interesting. Jude, he's very good. And yeah, so Talia, I knew she had to take the journal. I knew it. That was my theory until the end of the episode. I was like, yeah, it's her because come on, why would Mariana out of nowhere take Callie's journal? Why would it be Mariana? Why would Mariana do it? So it had to be Talia because Talia had, for some reason, this random grudge against Callie because she's always asking when's Callie gonna turn juvie. She's always looking at Callie with weird stares and yeah. And I think she's jealous of Callie. So anyway, yeah. So that was this episode. I always give this episode 10. I always give these episodes 10 out of 10 in my head because they're always great. I've never seen a bad episode of the show so far, and I don't think I will because this show went for 5 seasons. So we will be reviewing all of those seasons, and then when we done the 5 seasons, we get into the spin-off Good Trouble, which I watched the show on Disney Plus. So that's 2 seasons, and I'll be watching those 2 seasons of Good Trouble. I watched Foster's on Disney Plus. I'll be watching Good Trouble on Disney Plus. So anyway, yeah. So like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next to Foster.